In this 6-part tutorial, we're going to be looking at using the new Docker Swarm mode to create a 3-tiered web application. We're going to be creating 3 virtual machines, Manager 1, Worker 1, and Worker 2. In our case, we're just going to be using the simple VirtualBox driver, leveraging Docker Machine to create those. The one thing we'll want to do is we'll want to create shared storage amongst the 3 VMs. And this is to allow the Swarm to put containers wherever it wants, and if a container needs to be rescheduled, it will still have access to its data. We'll use the shared storage driver EMC RexRay, which has good support for VirtualBox, but in a production environment you can use whichever driver you would like. The first service that we're going to create is going to be a database service, which is going to be MongoDB, and it's going to be on a backend overlay network. The next service will be the API, or REST service layer, and that'll be a strong loop application. Again, it'll be on a overlay network, and this will be the front-end overlay network. So the API is on the front-end and the back-end overlay network. The next service will be our gateway or Nginx service, which will serve as the basis for our static content, and that will also be on the front-end overlay network. We can see that all of these services have a virtual IP that's assigned by the Docker Swarm automatically that allows it to load balance between instances of that service. The gateway will connect to the API service, and this will allow us then to have the flow from the front end to the back end. The front end Nginx service will be available on port 8080 ingress, and when we allow that port to be open on the Swarm, it means that all of the VMs will have 8080 ingress open, and it will automatically route through Swarm mode's routing mesh to the proper virtual IP for the Nginx service. The next thing we'll want to do is create an ELK stack, which is Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana, which is a very popular stack to use for centralized logging. So all of our containers or services, I should say, will be sending their logs to the ELK stack, and we're going to also deploy that into the Docker Swarm. So we're going to deploy the Elasticsearch service, we're going to deploy the Logstash service, which is going to connect to Elasticsearch. Logstash collects the logs and then sends it to Elasticsearch, and then Kibana goes ahead and connects to Elasticsearch to pull in the visualization of the logs. We'll want to get to the UI of Kibana through port 5601, and we'll want to get to Logstash through 12201. And again, we'll open those up as ingress ports on the Docker Swarm. So 5601, as I mentioned before, will be routing through the VIP to Kibana, and the other port will be routing to Logstash.